Moving on from question 21 of section 2, the first logical reasoning section of LSAT PrepTest 141, which can be found over at lawhub.lsac.org. We've got question 22, we've got a highlight tool ready to go, and we're going to mark the task in the question stem to start. 22 reads, which of the following, if true, most strongly supports the researcher's hypothesis? So this is not an inference task. We are seeking an answer choice that supports the hypothesis, so this is actually a strengthen task. So we're going to read the paragraph on the left. After reading it in full, we're going to highlight the specific conclusion and then try to broadly predict what kind of information would strengthen that conclusion that we would then select as our correct answer. So starting at the top, because the native salmon in Lake Clearwater had nearly disappeared, sockeye salmon were introduced in 1940. After being introduced, this genetically uniform group of sockeyes split into two distinct populations that do not interbreed, one inhabiting deep areas of the lake and the other inhabiting shallow areas. Since the two populations now differ genetically, some researchers hypothesize that each has adapted genetically to its distinct habitat. So we've got to highlight this conclusion here of the researchers. But I don't know what each is. So I want to probably highlight what the each is for clear reference. And it's probably easiest to identify here that we had this genetically uniform group of sockeyes split into two distinct populations that do not interbreed, and then some researchers hypothesize that each is adapted genetically to its distinct habitat. So we want to show that it was in fact adaptation that led to this change into two distinct populations. Thank you for watching this LSAT explanation video. If you're enjoying the tips that it contains, please consider becoming a My Guru YouTube channel member if you haven't already done so. You'll get access to exclusive videos and early access to new LSAT explanation videos as they're produced as well. Additionally, you'll get access to speak with me and potentially discounts on live tutoring as well. So consider becoming a My Guru member today, but for now, let's get back to this explanation. Starting with choice A, we read, neither of the two populations of sockeyes has interbred with the native salmon. This is placed in choice A for a very specific reason. They're trying to get you to grab this and say, who cares about the native salmon? Remember that we do not recommend just saying out of scope as a reason to eliminate. If we consider the native salmon, there were native salmon, and it said nearly disappeared, so they're still present. So we can't just get rid of A because of the presence of native salmon, and we are talking about sockeyes that interbred. So this is relevant at the very least. So we'll hold on to choice A for now, and we'll go through the remaining answer choices, and that's what you should do if you can't come up with a specific reason to eliminate. Then choice B, when the native salmon in Lake Clearwater were numerous, they comprised two distinct populations that did not interbreed. Okay, so that is way the heck back in like 1940. And what happened before doesn't impact what happened later. And if anything, it's probably going to need additional information because you're like, okay, those two, they didn't interbreed, but what does that have to do with today? Remember that past performance does not necessarily indicate or prescribe future results. So B would need a bunch of different information. And again, there weren't that many native salmon left in 1940 either. So then, and we don't even know when they were numerous for that matter. So then choice C, most types of salmon that inhabit lakes spend part of the time in shallow water and part in deeper water. Wonderful. Most types of salmon. Is that sockeye? I have no idea. This needs a bunch of additional information. We should be able to eliminate C almost immediately. Then choice D, one of the populations of sockeyes is virtually identical genetically to the sockeyes originally introduced in 1940. Okay, so this again is relevant. So we'll hold on to D for now. And then choice E, the total number of sockeye salmon in the lake is not as large as the number of native salmon had been many years ago. Okay, not as large. Is that like, I don't know, one off, a million off? There's a bunch of different reasons I could eliminate choice E, I think, here. So now we're down to A and D. And remember that when you're down to two, you really want to focus on reasons to eliminate rather than to select. And you need to consider whether an answer choice might actually be presenting you with a reversal. So choice D says that one of the populations is virtually identical to the originals. Well, then, did it adapt if it's identical? No, it actually stayed the same. So D is actually weakening the argument by saying that one of the two populations didn't change at all. So we can eliminate that if we track it a little bit more clearly. But choice A, neither of the two populations of sockeyes is interbred with a native salmon. Well, that is eliminating another way that the salmon could have changed genetically. They would have changed because they interbred with this, somewhat rare salmon that were still there. So A is the correct answer because it eliminates another possible reason for the genetic changes. And that's why we were able to select it